Greetings everyone, my name is Don Smith and I am trying something new for my kitchen table. It's the only place that I can really record from. I've been wanting to, if you're anything like me, you have a stack of books on your nightstand that are novels that they're these, I'm going to get to them. You went to your library, used book section, you grabbed a couple novels, and you're like, this is interesting, this is interesting. Or if you were in the middle of something someplace and you needed to just grab a quick novel, you went to the dollar store, grabbed one of those forgotten author novels, grabbed that, and then someone said to you, hey, have you tried this novel yet? And you're there. So I have got these massive, like maybe about 4 or 5 stacks deep of books on my nightstand that I said, I need to do something with this. I just am at a point right now where I just don't have time to read. However, if I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to read something and I'm going to do a review of them, I figured, you know what? That would be really cool and I would have an excuse to read everything. So, as long as I've got a ton of old books that still need to be read, I'm going to read them, and I've decided to do a used book review live from my kitchen table. Probably I will have come up with a title for this little segment. By the time I've produced this, it'll either be Kitchen Table Reviews, Live from Don's Kitchen, or the Used Book Shelf. Who knows? But whatever it is, chances are I've used the awesome music of Lee Fitzsimmons to surround it, and I will be putting a link below in the YouTube section so that you can check out his work. He's an incredibly talented artist and I'm just a huge fan of his music, and I've used it for other projects that I've done. So first of all, my first book that I wanted to talk about was The Rising by Brian Keene, and I'm going to get in nice and shot there. Probably by the time I have this all produced, I will have a couple of standalones of it so you can see the photo of the cover. I'll even provide a link to Brian's website, and I'll also provide a link to the store, or to the, on Amazon.com, where you can pick up a copy of this. This is a fun book. This is set basically in today's world. It's all about how zombies have become apocalyptic. There's nothing left of the world. And what's interesting is that these zombies are actually smart. They can drive, they can shoot, but it's not your typical George Romero zombie. What you have here is a zombie that basically, it's a presence that's reanimating a corpse. And it's a really fascinating tale. Now, I will say this. If I could classify this book as anything, I would call it a child of Stephen King. This book, really, when you read it, you can see a lot of the Stephen King influence, even down to the point of having a man of faith and also having a mentally challenged kid in there. What I do like about Brian's book is, it is kind of like taking, whereas it's Stephen King, it takes him about 150 pages to talk about a guy going around the corner. Brian's attitude is, let's just cut to the chase and jump right into the story. And it's a great story. It's all about this guy named Jim who has to travel from West Virginia to New Jersey to try and find his son, and in the process he meets this pastor who is still just holding on to his faith. He also meets a prostitute, and he also encounters a power-mad general that deals with the National Guard. And he's got to overcome all of these to get to his son. I'm not going to ruin the ending for you. However, the best representation I can give is, what is my opinion of this book? Well, I actually went out and bought a copy of his book, Ghoul, because I was anxious to read more of Brian Keene's stuff. Brian Keene just recently wrote on his website about how he spent one weekend writing about 40,000 words, and he considers himself a pulp writer. He is. I'm not going to make any bones about that. He is a pulp writer. He churns out books constantly. But he's meant to entertain, and he does his job. And that's why I'm going to give The Rising 3 out of 4 stars. It's a great book. I would really encourage you to check it out. Also, if you're a wannabe writer like me, I shouldn't say wannabe writer, but if you're a writer like me and you just are looking for someone that is able to basically make a living out of this, check out his website. You can learn an awful lot of amazing tips and stories from him, and he also just seems like an all-about nice guy just to be email and just even read his stuff. So I would recommend that. My second book, this one was really vastly different from The Rising. This one is called Steve Alten's The Loch. Now, the reason why The Loch is, or Steve Alten has such a career is because of a book called Meg, which basically deals with a lot of underwater, prehistoric dinosaur shark things that may or may not be at the bottom of the ocean. In this, it is set in Loch Ness. And he does a really, really amazing job getting into the science, the geology, the biology of the book, or of Loch Ness, and what the monster may or may not be. This is a novel, and it's all about this kid named Zachary Wallace. He's not a kid, he's a 25-year-old oceanographer or marine biologist. And he has discovered a giant squid with this submarine, and he suffers a really nasty accident, and he basically develops a fear of the water. Well, what happens is that his father back in Scotland, who lives near Loch Ness, is arrested for murder. So what he's got to do is go to Scotland, help out with the trial, and his father basically blames the murder on the Loch Ness monster. And I will say this, the characters are really, honestly, incredibly two-dimensional. I mean, you can read who a character is and you can see what's happening with them literally a mile away with them. However, I had a very hard time putting this book down. There was a lot to get through, there really was, but it was really entertaining. Again, when you read the characters, you can go, okay, he's going to end up with this person's going to be mad at him for this, and this is going to happen. And it's really, really, and even the trial, I was kind of like, why in the world was this even part of the story? But it was a really, honestly compelling book, and just the amount of depth and research, no pun intended on the word depth, but just the amount of research that he did on this, I'm really going to give you this also 3 out of 4 stars and recommend this. If you're anything like me and you have an interest in Loch Ness or cryptozoology or anything like that, check the book out. In fact, even on the cover it quotes George Norrie, the host of Coast to Coast, and he says, "Riveting, I'm glad I'm not in a boat on the loch at night." It really is kind of like someone took Loch Ness, or took a combination of Loch Ness and Jaws. I'd really recommend this book. And considering that this is my first episode, I have 2 really, really fun science fiction books to recommend for you guys. Please check them out, sit back and enjoy, and I will be back soon. My reading habits are kind of all over the place, so it's not necessarily, my next few books may not be science fiction, may actually be some local history books, I think, and maybe a couple of genre-related books. I know I saw an Indiana Jones and a couple of Star Trek books on my nightstand I need to get to. Also, at the same time, a bunch of my friends are writers, and I ended up buying a slew of books. So I'm going to be doing some book reviews of some friends' books, and if I do, so what? I can guarantee you do the same thing for a friend. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and please check out the rest of the stuff. I should be posting this on SVT Publishing, but if not, I will have this on my YouTube channel. So thank you very much, and happy reading. Take care.